Good evening. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Thanks.
Good. Thank you for attending this program to receive the update on what's new in Schaumburg. We welcome your participation in civic life, and this is a great way to participate and find out what's happening in the village. A few announcements regarding library events. All you have to do is go to the Schaumburg Library website at schaumburglibrary.org to find out what's happening with events by clicking on the events page at the top in the header. So click on events, find out what's going on with programs. Any gardeners here? We will be having a plant swap Sunday, May 21st, the lower level in the workshop on the first floor here at the Central Library. And while it seems like it's really far away, we will be opening that time capsule for the library on September 23rd from 1 to 4. So tonight we are having in-person attendees as well as people watching online. So please hold your questions until the end, and Allison will answer your questions at the end. Online viewers can type their questions into the chat or the Q&A by hitting the Q&A button online, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. We also have captions enabled. You can hit the CC button on the bottom of your Zoom screen in order to turn on or off the captions. So let's get started. Allison Albrecht is here from the Village of Schaumburg. She is the Director of Communications and Outreach. And take it away, Allison.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you joining me in person, happy to see you here at the library. I was just telling some of our folks we're kind of happy to do this here in person. We've been doing a few of these online for a while, but we decided to give it a go and hit both formats this time. So thank you to those of you who came on out today, and thank you for those that are joining us online. As she mentioned, I am going to do a PowerPoint presentation providing you with some information about things that are going on, some things that are coming up in Schaumburg, and then we'll kind of get through that presentation, and then we'll allow for some Q&A towards the end. So if you have a burning question as I'm going through something, please write it down, put it in the chat, and then I will do my best to get to that at the very end of the presentation. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's talk a little bit about a couple positive things that occur. I always like to start off the presentation on a positive note. That's the good thing about Schaumburg. There's a lot of positive things to talk about. So one of the things I wanted to draw your attention to, we're very proud of the fact that just recently both our engineering and public works department and our fire department were recently accredited by their respective agencies. Accreditation is designed to assist agencies for continuous improvement. It's usually the benchmark for departments to kind of achieve and get to in terms of their operations. So by having these are our, we call our big three: engineering and public works, our fire department, and our police department. All three of those departments are now fully accredited and have been for some time. So we're really proud of that at the Village of Schaumburg. We are obviously a service organization, so these departments that come on out and serve you, being able to be the most professional, have the highest benchmarks, and making sure that our operations are the best that they can be, that's a really good reflection on the community that we live in. So very proud for that distinction that we receive for both our engineering and public works and our fire department recently. I also like to talk about, and you may have heard this before a little bit, our National Citizen Survey. We do this every about 3 years or so in the village. What we do is we take a snapshot. We go out and get about 1,700, actually this time it was 2,600 households. We get their feedback on what's working well in the village, what do we need to work on in terms of usefulness and quality of our village services. So we took a look at that data, and we kind of came back and determined that we had some really positive scores, as you can see. In 2021, we were actually scoring higher in a lot of categories than we did back in 2018. So that's after the pandemic went through, which was obviously a roller coaster of sorts and still is in some ways. But this is very positive to see as well. So that first slide that talked about our accredited agencies, again, providing useful and quality services to the village is very important. And it shows in the data here because we do have people that would recommend Schaumburg as a place to be, and people view us as still an excellent place to live. So again, we're very proud of that distinction. And not only is it important for us to get data from the people that we serve, we use that data for making decisions going forward. So that's approving the budget, that's coming up with operations, that's implementing policies and procedures going forward. We use that data to be able to make decisions in terms of what people want. So those were really good data respondents that we got from that survey process. So we will look to do that again, most likely in a couple years, but very happy to see some of that information coming through. We just recently just passed our new budget. Our fiscal year runs May 1st to April 30th. So we just got out of our last fiscal year, starting the new one. We did approve our budget, a balanced budget, about $312 million for revenues and $311 million for expenditures. As noted, we did have no new increases in the property tax levy. The mayor and board were very adamant about maintaining that, making sure that did not increase for residents. This was another tricky year in terms of planning going forward, just because of inflation. We did finish the year, the last fiscal year, with higher than anticipated revenues, just like a lot of other places, but we did get a lot of, we did also get a lot of pressure from other village expenses. So in terms of revenues coming in terms of our sales tax, our home rule sales tax, our income tax, food and beverage, hotel motel taxes, all of those were coming in really well. But we also had increases in our contract costs. We had increase in materials, supply chain increases. So a lot of that is push and pull on both sides of the equation. So one of the things we did anticipate in the coming year, we wanted to make sure that, yes, while we are seeing some surpluses that we did not anticipate to see, we also want to be careful budgeting going forward because A, we don't know how long this is going to last. We do anticipate, some cooling off in the economy. And then B, we also have other needs coming forward in terms of future expenses that we have to take a look at. That always includes, public safety pensions that we are mandated to fulfill and capital improvements. We've got aging facilities that need to be addressed. So there's a variety of things that we do have to consider going forward, even though we did see some really good revenues this year coming in. One of the reasons we did have a pretty good year, the mayor and board decided to give a one-time residential rebate. I was just talking to one of our participants here who said she got her rebate. It was something that the mayor and board thought was very important to be able to give back to the community and make sure that they could assist with, paying groceries, paying a gas bill, what have you, maybe, getting a bite to eat. This was distributed to about 18,300 residents, totaled about $3 million. And this rebate card did go out to those households that carry the exemption through the Cook County Assessor's Office. So we're still working off of their data. If for some reason you did not get a rebate yet and you believe that you should have one, these are for records that were 2021, please contact us at the village. We want to make sure that you get a rebate if you're supposed to be getting one. So we will double check that for you. So make sure you contact the village. You can dial 311 to be contacted by our finance department, and we'll make sure that if you are intended to get a rebate that you get that. So that was something that the mayor and board did recently. And we had a lot of good positive feedback from the community on that. So we're very happy to be able to do that for the community. And again, this is a one-time residential rebate payment. So, we're glad to see that went pretty well. As with every summer, I hate to say it, it's construction season coming up. But as like every year, we do have a pretty active capital improvement program. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of the significant road construction projects that you're going to likely see around town. These are some of the larger ones that are going to have some pretty significant impacts on some of our major roadways. This is in addition to our annual street improvement program. This is the neighborhood streets that we do. We'll be tackling 11.2 miles of preventative maintenance, 0.7 miles of corrective resurfacing, and 6.7 miles of other improvements. So that's bike path enhancements, that's walking trails, parking lot improvements, and pedestrian enhancements as well. So those will all be taking place, but then, like I said, these are in addition to that. So Bodie Road is going to have some activity on it. We've got projects split into two sections. That's going to be going on through March through the fall of 2023. That is going to basically take part in the way of resurfacing, curb and sidewalk replacement, pavement striping, and improvements to the traffic signal at Bodie and Spring and Scooth. So a bunch of things going on there. You can also look forward to National Parkway reconstruction. We've got some utility work underway right there, and then the reconstruction is actually slated to begin in June, so that'll be coming up shortly. The section will be closed. There's a section of National Parkway that's going to be closed to traffic, as they're going to relocate a storm sewer in that area as well. And then there's going to be a roundabout at American Lane, which is also a big part of the project as well. So work also includes sidewalk and street lighting improvements as well. And then lastly, we have Rodenberg Road. We've got Irving Park to the village limits. That is another project that's going to begin in August and continue through the fall of 2023. That will have some impacts that'll be fairly minimal to begin with, but then we'll have full reconstruction that'll be taking place a little bit longer down the way. So it's going to be a messy project as well. But again, all of these road construction projects, if you don't get the weekly e-newsletter, the progress report, I would highly recommend that you sign up for it. Free e-newsletter, it will highlight when significant projects are about to begin, what the traffic impacts are. It's just a heads up maybe to avoid certain areas or to maybe plan your daily getting out and about accordingly. So if you haven't signed up for that, I would highly recommend that, as you will get updates and notices about projects like these in that communication. And again, this is just a snapshot of a much larger capital improvement project program that has been already approved for the year. We've got about, in these larger projects, we got about 12 roadways under design or construction. That's 13.1 million total budget. And a lot of that we're actually getting grant funding for. So that's a really big thing that the village is looking at these days with capital projects costing more. We are always looking for ways that we can get grant funding through the state, through the county, from other sources that will reduce the village's burden and share of these projects. So we're very fortunate to be able to get a lot of those projects grant funded, partially, most of them. So. We also very excited, again, in this time, we had a lot of businesses open recently, and just wanted to share a few that have opened in last couple months. Some of them, hopefully, you've already been to. If not, there's maybe a few on your list to try. All Time Carvers actually has a new showroom that just started innovative products for homes, offices, and industrial buildings. Some of their products specialize in cabinets, sinks, closets, stairs, floors, and home decor and more. So if you're thinking of a home remodeling project, might be a place to check out this spring and summer. We've got a couple of physicians immediate care open recently, physical therapy and balance. Gray's Craze, if you're not familiar with this particular one, this one's located just up the road from the barn. They offer charcuterie boards and boxes for events and catering. So if you're planning graduation parties and other events, this is a great local business. They basically provide no-fuss meals, and you can choose everything from meats and cheeses to fruits and veggies, homemade dips. I've heard some really good stuff about them so far. I have not tried them yet, but I've heard some positive things. And lastly, we have Cilantro Taco Grill that opened recently as well. This is their 13th location in Illinois. They're family run, and they serve traditional Mexican food. So check those businesses out. We always encourage people to shop local, obviously. It does help benefit the community and the village that we live in. So always pushing for that. And I wasn't done with my recently opened businesses. We've had a really good year. And so we're super pleased to be able to bring even more businesses to the forefront. Sweet Green is another one that opened recently. They're a popular healthy fast food spot. It's their first ever drive-through location. I have eaten there, pretty good so far. It's real farm food. It's very fresh and healthy, so if that's on your list to try. Diamonds Direct, I don't think I need to talk too much on that. Looking for some gifts, I think that's a good place to check out. Sweet Orange Pancake House, another family-owned restaurant that just opened in the Kingsport Plaza. They do breakfast and lunch options. Sea Feast Sushi, which is difficult to say quickly, so I have to slow down when I say that one. Sea Feast Sushi does modern interpretation of classic Japanese dishes. So that one is an interesting one if you like more ethnic foods. Carvana just opened recently on Penny Lane. That one we were waiting for that one for quite some time, and they constructed their new multi-story vending machine car dealership. That was a $9 million investment there at that location, so we were happy to see them open actually just recently. And hot off the press, Alex Baby and Toy just opened on Friday with their ribbon cutting. So they are basically kind of like a Toys R Us, not quite, but kind of similar concept, taking that offering different products for like babies and toys and things of that nature. So that'll be a nice one to check out as well. And I should also mention Kohl's just opened recently too, in the Art Van, the old Art Van furniture right there on Meacham and off of Higgins. So they just had their ribbon cutting, I believe, a week or so ago as well. So it's a busy time right now. We've got a lot of businesses coming to the forefront. We've got a lot of others coming soon, which I'll highlight shortly. One thing I also wanted to point out, which I think is fairly obvious at this point, especially those of you who have come here today, you probably noticed Tony's right down the street here. Super excited to have that one open in March. That was one that everyone was waiting for, I believe. Took a while to get there, but we're super excited to have that one open. The first day was jam-packed with people. I know they were giving away a lot of great stuff, and hopefully it's a good traffic for this area. It's a good tax investment for the village, and it's also putting people to work, 200 some jobs there too. So it's great to see that kind of happening there. So we're excited about that recent opening as well. As I mentioned, yes, we've had a lot open, but we also have a lot on the docket coming up. Things that are in design, they're in construction, maybe going through the permitting process. We've got a few different ones to talk of. American Red Cross is going to be opening a new location on Gulf Road. They're investing $1 million to renovate almost a 4,500 square foot space. Don't have an opening date just yet, but we'll keep you posted when that occurs. Bird's Hot Chicken is another one on Roselle Road. That's going to be opening pretty soon. I don't have an anticipated date yet, but that's located right next to that new Sweet Orange Pancake place as well. We also have Darwin Realty coming on board. We've got Jung Boo Market. That is going to be opening a new location on Gulf Road. They offer authentic Korean and Pan-Asian fresh products, so that'll be a good spot as well. In addition, we've got Little Caesars. I think that doesn't need any explanation. McAllister's Deli is going to be coming on board. They're renovating the former Fuddruckers building on 436 East Gulf Road. So that'll be a new deli in that location. And then we also have Primark is going to be opening at Woodfield Mall. They're a European-based clothing store, so we're excited to see them come in as well. Woodfield's got a lot of stores that are also coming into the mix, so there'll be a few other announcements probably happening at a later time as well. So very excited. Schaumburg's still the place to be. We've got a lot of activity always happening, new stores coming in, new places looking to develop here. So that's all good signs for the economy and our community. I also wanted to talk a little bit about, for those of you who are familiar with the north end of town, that's something that the village is really taking a lot of interest in and doing a lot of development in that area. Our 90 North Public Park is still underway. If you've driven over there lately, it's located off of Progress Parkway, kind of west of Bowler, kind of east of Top Golf, kind of in between there. This is the land. It occupies the Motorola Solution campus right there. And we're working on quite a few different things with this project. Last year, we had a lot of the infrastructure things that we were doing in that area. So a lot of grading, pathways, things, leveling, not too exciting things, but we did complete our hammock grove was one of the things that we did complete this past summer. Actually, it was more like fall. Very excited about that. This is a large project, so it's happening over probably a 10-year span. It's not something that's being done in phases along the way. So it's a pretty big investment, and it is meant to help be a regional destination because there's a lot of development that's happening all around there. So you've got a lot of new townhomes, row homes, apartments happening. We've got some of the other office space, commercial aspects that are coming into that area. So this is meant to be open green space to be surrounded by some of that development. So on tap for this year, we actually are going to be starting work on the shared street project, which is going to be on the west side of the park. You'll notice we're going to work on basically a lot of the parking amenities, possibly going to start in the fall, starting to work on that. And that's going to allow for shared programming, expanded programming of the park in the future. So again, it's more of the infrastructure pieces of the park, but it's getting that to a place where it needs to be for those future phases. We'll also be continuing to work on the irrigation system throughout the park. And then we're also going to start on improvements at the intersection of Hammond Drive and Algonquin Road, which is just to the northwest of there. So you'll see some activity starting to happen in that area. We're also going to start working on design for some of the future phases of the park area as well. But that will be kind of down the road there as well. So a lot of activity happening there. Some of the walkways you can see. I just took these the other day when it was really nice out. So you're able to see Bowler there in the background. And then the Hammock Grove is off to the right, and you've got Zurich all the way in the back there. So there's a lot of space out there, and it's going to be coming along. It's a slow process, but with each year, we're going to continue to add to that area. So it's very exciting. Also very exciting on this end of, I should say, on the west side of Meacham, we're still working on what we call the district. This is something that we're working on with Developers Urban Street Group. Basically, we are looking to, in addition to that park area there, we are looking to, create other opportunities for additional retail in other commerce, such as restaurant, retail, and entertainment users. So again, just additional development of that 90 North area. Again, this is a lot future down the road. These are concepts, but these are things that we're looking to do with that area. So very exciting stuff. Other happenings at 90 North, we just, actually this spring, this is the Quinn. They hosted a ribbon cutting to kick off their leasing of their upscale apartments. This is located near the intersection of Algonquin and Plum Grove Roads. So this is also happening in phases over there, that development. But this is another example of housing that's in residential units that are being put into the 90 North area. They got 373 apartments at the Quinn. This is joining about 1,000 other residential units that have basically been developed in the last 5 years. So again, a lot of housing coming into that area up in 90 North, which is going to be important for the park and Top Golf and the commerce and the retail and the other uses that we're looking to do over there. It's exciting to see that coming up. as I mentioned, Northgate at Viridian. This is another example of a housing area that's still under construction in that area, but is definitely exciting and adding to the mix of residential opportunities over at 90 North. If you go now to the east side of Meacham Road, just this past fall/winter, across from the convention center, the village demolished 2 of the aging commercial buildings that were over there on Thoreau Drive. This is to make way for the entertainment district that is being proposed and planned for that area. Again, this is across the street of the convention center. It's looking to tie in the visitors that come and go to conventions. We want to make sure that we're capitalizing on making sure that they have amenities in terms of retail and restaurants, and we're looking at pedestrian bridge across Meacham Road at some point. Again, connecting that east and west side of 90 North. We want to make sure that when we get people there, they have things to do. So something that we're also looking at is Andretti. That's already going to be coming into the village. Andretti Karting and Games. They're actually anticipated to break ground hopefully this year, and then hopefully with an anticipated opening in 2024 if they can make that schedule. I know that they're going to be going through zoning process pretty soon, and then we'll be up for consideration at the village board. So a lot of exciting things that you'll probably be reading about in the Daily Herald and other news places. So this gives you the sneak peek on some things that are coming up. Additional amenities in that district area, we're also looking at a restaurant, a 900 space parking deck, and as I mentioned before, walkways to connect some of those places. So a lot of exciting developments happening in what we call that 90 North area. But, you know, you don't have to wait for good entertainment. We actually already have a lot of that happening here. And actually, if I could correct something on the Summer Breeze concerts that are coming, it's actually July through August, not June. So my apologies on that, but those will begin Saturdays at 7 p.m. Those happen on our municipal center grounds. The lineup has just been announced recently, so you can go to prairiecenter.org to check out. It's a wide variety of acts. I think we've got somebody impersonating the king, I'm pretty sure. We've got some soul music. We've got some great variety of bands coming there. So always a good time. They're totally free, and it's a good time to be able to sit outside, just enjoy some summer music. So you don't have to wait until the entertainment district is all up and running to actually have some good entertainment. We're excited to be able to present those, and they're always very popular. So come on out if you haven't checked one of those out in a while. Also on tap, coming up, obviously, right in our town square area, we'll be excited to bring back our farmers market. It's going to be kicking off on June 2nd. It runs every Friday through the entire summer and then through the end of October. A lot of the other farmers markets end around Labor Day, but we keep on chugging. So it's a great way to shop locally, to be able to get fresh produce, fresh goods. We also have entertainment typically at our farmers markets too. So it's a great place to kind of meet your neighbors, to come on out, enjoy town square. Great location there as well. And we're expanding some of our vendors. I think we're going to be up to about 47 this year. So we've got more vendors coming out. So if you haven't been in a while, I invite you to come on back because we'll probably have a lot to offer. So definitely all the good stuff that you've had in the past and probably a little bit more. And that's in the Trickster parking lot right here. So I do want to say my little PSA of reminding people, no pets, no bicycles, no skateboards, and no scooters at the market, just for everyone's safety. We had, a lot of people, especially wanting to bring their dogs to the farmers market. We've had to turn people away in the past. So again, that's just a safety protocol. Just because there's fresh food around, we don't want there to be any issues. So, and especially with other people that may not be able to be around dogs and things of that nature. So just a reminder. But you can go to our website, schaumburg.com, and that will have all the information about the vendors that are going to be coming, the entertainment schedule that'll be up. And then any other rules and regulations to follow. So hopefully we will see you there when it opens, which is, gosh, not that far away. So hopefully it'll feel like summer by that time. For those of you, if we're getting into the summer months, just wanted to talk a little bit about our teen center called The Club. I don't know if many of you are aware, but our barn, hopefully those of you familiar with our barn space that offers senior programming, we also have space in there that is our teen center. This was actually recently renovated space, made it more modern. We got new furniture in there, versatile gathering areas, new technology. Made quite a few enhancements to that space this past year. So very excited to kind of reopen that. That space is run by the Boys and Girls Club of Elgin. It's open to junior high and high school students, and it is free to attend. So if you've got people that have school-age children, it's coming to be summer, and you want them to go to a safe place where they can, learn and kind of get some resources maybe for upcoming college, this is a great option for people who might not be aware of. So feel free to check that out. We do have information on our website for the Teen Center as well. Also, as we're getting into summer, a lot of people will ask us at the Village if they're going to have a garage sale. There's no permit required. I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're planning on having a sale this summer, it's no longer required. That was something the board did remove in 2020 as a requirement. If you are going to be having home improvements, though, then you probably do need a permit. So this is the busy time. We start getting into spring, summer. People want to start doing home improvement projects. They might be, replacing siding, maybe doing roofing work, sewer repair and plumbing, things of that nature. Might be decks or balconies, putting in pergolas or pools, fireplace fencing, things of that nature. A lot of those things we do require permits. So we want to make sure that the things that you are doing in terms of home improvement projects, just make sure that they're up to code and they're also safe. So definitely, if you're unsure, you're not sure what's required, please call us. We'd rather walk you through that process. We would rather let you know what is needed for those projects before you get underway. So don't be shy about giving us a call. Our community development department would be more than happy to answer questions. They'll show you which application you might need, the timeline for submittal, and a lot of other information. So if you are planning any home improvement projects, just keep that in mind as you go through that process. I also wanted to just bring up a couple of programs to know. Brush collection is underway. It's open to single-family residences. We have a calendar that's on our website. It's been in some previous Cracker Barrel publications as well. Just make sure that you can utilize this program as well through the summer months and into the fall. This is not for contractors. This is just for more of our single-family residents. There are some rules and regulations about how you bundle your materials. Again, take a look at our website. We've got a lot of useful information there. Or you can also dial our 311 center, and they can give you some information on that as well. Another program, if you're not familiar with, the Village does a mulch program. I will caveat that we are just about done with this year's program. It does start usually earlier in the spring, around March. We usually do orders, again, a lot of it's dependent on the weather. We do orders through June, sometimes into July, but it's better to place those orders early just to make sure that they're fulfilled. If you do place an order and we can't fulfill it, we do refund your money. So it is a good program. It's something that's done through our Public Works department, and it's a good one that a lot of people don't always think of. So that's just another amenity that the Village offers. Just wanted to go over a couple of upcoming events for May and June. A couple things that, again, giving back to the community. We've got our COP on a Rooftop on May 19th. So if you like coffee and donuts in the morning, stop by 2 of those Dunkin' Donut locations. You will be raising money for Special Olympics of Illinois, and you'll probably see our police chief and some other officers either up on the rooftop or waving donuts or something of that nature. So feel free to stop by. It's typically, I believe, the morning hours from like 5:30, 6 a.m. till I think around 1. So we would be happy to support that effort. May 20th, we've got our Public Works open house. This is a great family event and just a great event to learn more about what our Public Works Department does. Again, as I started the presentation, we've got our Public Works Department, which is an accredited agency. They offer these programs like the mulch program and the brush collection, but they do so many things. They repair street lights, they plow the streets in the wintertime. They're fixing all kinds of things around the village as needed. They're planting things, all the landscape beds that you see. They're doing a lot of the horticulturist work as well. They do so much in keeping this village looking the way it does. So you can stop on by, you can visit all of the different stations at the Public Works Open House. You can kind of cycle in, cycle out as you please. And it's just a great event to learn more about what that department does for the village. And you can ask your questions too, because they're the subject matter experts, more than me, actually. For those of you who like the arts, we got our Prairie Arts Festival coming up on Memorial Day weekend. So that's always a popular one to get some really great arts for family members. We also have our Memorial Day observance that will also be held that weekend. As I mentioned, June 2nd is our farmers market opening date in Town Square. For those of you who like to ride bikes, we've got our Farad Tour von Schaumburg happening in June. Always love that one. It's a great one to get the family out, or if you just like riding around the village. We hope for good weather. We hope. But it's a good one to be able to just be able to enjoy the outdoors around Schaumburg. Speaking of outdoors, we have our environmental fair coming up as well. That we partner with a couple different folks on. Our community blood drive on June 14th, always important to give back when you can. And then we have our Father's Day pancake breakfast at the Schaumburg Regional Airport, which is a really cool one. If you have not been over to the airport at all, enjoy some pancakes. It's a great event. You can check out the planes there. It's a good time. So I encourage you to check that out. In closing, I just wanted to offer a couple of ways that you can stay in contact with the village. As I mentioned a couple different times about our website, schaumburg.com. It's got a lot of information there, sometimes a little too much, but if you're ever looking for anything, you can search on our website. We do try to keep that with the most up-to-date information so that you are in the know at all times. I mentioned our Cracker Barrel publication. That's our quarterly newsletter that gets mailed out to all residents. We just wrapped up the summer edition, and it's at the printer right now. So should be coming out, I believe, next week to mailboxes. So some of this information will probably be in there, and then you may see a couple other things as well. I mentioned also our weekly progress report e-newsletter. Again, I'd be happy to sign you up if you need to, or you can just go on our website and just type in your email address. You'll get some of those construction updates. You'll get a lot of other announcements and information throughout the year. So that's a great source of weekly information. For those of you on social media, we encourage you to stay abreast of all the things that we do on some of our different platforms. And then I mentioned a couple different times that you can always dial 311 in the village. So anytime you're in the village, you got a question about something, you're not sure when, if you should get a rebate card or when brush collection starts, or are you plowing my street yet? 311. You can always dial that. We've got a dedicated customer service team there. They'll route you to the right department. They will either answer the question if they can, and they'll help out with just about anything. So it's a really good place to get information. I would say it's much better than perhaps going to social media and asking everyone on social media what the answer is. So I encourage you, if you have a question about the village, call the village, get in touch with the village. That's my greatest thing that I can offer to you, because I would rather you get the right information from the village versus rumors or inaccurate information that might be swirling about in the community. So definitely take advantage of that. And then lastly, you can do what's called customer service requests as well. So again, we're a large village, 74,700 and some people in our village. So it is difficult for us as a village to notice everything. So we do ask our public, if you are out and about and you notice potholes, you notice broken street lights, you notice trees in the parkway that are a hazard, notify us through a customer service request, or you can dial 311 and they'll initiate a customer service request. This is the fastest way for stuff to get done. And it's a workflow process that goes through our departments. And that way we know it gets assigned to a department. We know when it's tracked from beginning to end. It's the best way to, when you have an issue, we know that it's going to get taken care of. So I highly encourage you to use that going forward. And that concludes my presentation. So if you have any question, I'd be happy to answer some.
311 does not work in my area of Schaumburg.
What is your area of Schaumburg? So the question or the statement was 311 does not work in my neighborhood. And
It does not. My neighborhood, which is part of Schaumburg.
okay. What is your neighbor? Well, you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we talk afterwards, and I can find out what area you're in, and I can.
I guess.
Well, we definitely don't want to be using 911 for non-emergency, you know. So, and we don't want to use 311 for emergency, right? Yeah.
My next question is, how is the fire department financed? Is it like the library, its own taxing district?
No.
It goes to.
Through the village. It's through the village. Yeah. So police.
The guy who runs the fire department told me, I was arguing once. I said, I'll pay you guys. She said, you're not paying me. The businesses pay all the taxes and support the fire department. And I thought he was crappy, going.
No, so the village is not a separate, or, I'm sorry, the fire department is not a separate taxing body than the village. Correct. So park district, township, library, village, schools, those are all separate taxing bodies. You know, so the police, fire, public works, that's all part of the village. And any taxes that go through the village go to pay general fund for.
Every time I see this guy, I have to
Well, tell him he should call the village and we'll set him straight. So I'm sorry you got that information, but yes. And I will have to look into the, yes, because I don't have an answer on that, but I have a feeling if you're in a corner of one of the village, it may be are you calling from a cell phone or a landline?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I think I called from a landline. I'm not sure. I thought.
Well, most people don't have a landline anymore.
Some do, but most don't. Yeah. Well, I asked just in case. I don't want to assume anything, right? Landline versus cell. Okay. All right. I will come talk to you afterwards, so don't leave.
Can you tell us what's going on at the area of Golf and Meacham where the old fields is being taken down? Well, restaurants.
Yes.
Restaurants, 5 of them.
Yes. So the question was, can you tell me what is, and I'm repeating this for the folks that are viewing online, can you tell me what is happening at the corner of Meacham for the old Macy's? Is that the old Macy's building? So they did demolish that, and that's actually going to be a variety of restaurants. I believe there's 5 different restaurants going to be called the Crossroads of Schaumburg. It's a new development. Very, very early on. So they just basically took that down, I think a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I drove by the one day and it was there and then it wasn't. So that was a quick one that came down. So, but that's going to be a busy intersection there of a variety of restaurants. So.
And also, how can we find, you were talking about the various ways of getting information through the newsletter, the Cracker Barrel, all that. How do you find out information more about security, about police and fire matters, shootings, robberies? I mean, things have happened around my house that are pretty alarming.
Okay.
I don't know where to find that information.
Sure.
What's going on?
So the question was, how do I find information about police and fire matters, things that might be related to crime, things of that nature? There's probably a couple different ways you could probably do that. So I would recommend, our police department does what's called a chat with the brass. It's basically, I think they're still doing that online via Zoom, but basically it's a meeting like this where you can meet with police command staff, and it's every third Thursday of the month I'm trying to remember that correctly. The third Thursday of the month, you can meet with basically command staff to ask questions just like that. They will share if there's trends that are happening in town, if there's like safety tips maybe. We try to put out a lot of safety tips too through our general communication channels, but that's probably a better avenue for you to ask those types of questions, because then you can ask, it's our deputy chiefs that are part of that forum. They will be able to, the beat officers can also address issues that might be happening in a specific beat of town. I would also say that there is we do have a crime prevention e-newsletter. I don't know if you subscribe to that at all. That's a lot more safety tips, I would say. But I know there's information about a crime community map on there as well, where there's a link that you can click on that will give you, if you're wanting to look up things that might be happening in your area in terms of police-related incidents.
It doesn't seem to be very specific, though. I mean, when I come home and it's all blocked off, they're telling you can't drive down the street. Right.
Yep.
It's like a block away from your house. You go, okay, what is happening?
Well,
How do you find that out?
Well, and sometimes it's difficult too, because the police may be dealing with an incident, and if it's a community, if it's something that is pertinent to the community, like the community alert needs to get issued, we will typically issue something like that. If it's something where people need to shelter in place, or maybe there's searching for somebody, something of that nature, where they think the public is in danger, we would get notified and be putting out communications on that. Yeah. Probably through either social media, through press release. There may be a couple different, through our website. There's probably a couple different tools in which we would do that. A lot of the times there's run-of-the-mill stuff that's taking place, and we're a big community. I mean, every time you see sirens, they're not always going to say it.
I know Schaumburg likes to often publicize all the positives, and I
yes,
get that.
yes,
I understand.
100%.
But we need to know too when those things are happening very close to our house.
Well, and I think too, a lot of it is also based on, they want to, if they're investigating something, they have to be careful about how much information they give out. But to your point, there are certain things that create a lot of, there's a lot of things that, attention, it's just creating attention perhaps if they're doing like a warrant or something's occurring, that you're going to see a lot of police presence. We have been starting to work with our police department a little bit more to try to say, okay, if there is going to be something where there's a large police presence and we need to put something out on social media, because usually that's the fastest way stuff is going to get out, to try to work with our office too. So that's something we're in the process of trying to get a little bit better at, because we do understand that it creates attention. People want to just make sure that they're safe and stuff too. And we don't want people thinking that they're not safe if it's just something that it's routine in nature that they've got to handle. It can be sensitive, it can be tricky sometimes, but I can certainly pass that along, and I would certainly encourage you to bring that up if you do attend a chat with the BRAT, like how can we get better information, and because I think that's one of the things we are trying to work on with outreach events like this, and we are trying to be more transparent about both positive and just things you need to know being a community member. So
thank you for answering that question.
Yes.
I will look into that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to thank you verbally from many people about
Sure.
$150 rebate. Yeah, that was very nice.
Yes, I will pass that along to the mayor and the board. That was their, I'm just the messenger.
The speeding on Schaumburg Road. It's like 40 miles an hour. I'm driving 45 or 46 myself. But there are people going so fast that I look like I'm standing still at 45.
Okay.
And I don't ever see anybody around. Like, we've had two very serious accidents at Summit and Schaumburg Road, two fatalities early this year at the light. And I don't know. I'm warning everybody at that light. Be careful, my neighbors, my friends, my relatives. But the speeding on Schaumburg Road is unbelievable.
Okay.
Part of it is 45.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Sorry. You're next.
I feel that Schaumburg is, I've been here many, many years, and Schaumburg has always been a family-friendly town. But I feel that every time I turn around, there's another dispensary open up, there's another gambling place. I understand that that brings revenue, I
It does.
get it. But then I'm driving myself down Schaumburg Road and looking at a gentleman next to me in a white pickup truck tooting away, and while he's driving, and I think the licenses should be restricted for dispensaries and gambling. Enough already.
Well, we do have restrictions in place for the amount of licenses that can be had for both dispensaries, cannabis dispensaries, and for gambling. So I don't recall the number of each one off the top of my head, but I do know that there is a max for both of those. And that is something that the board will continue to review, because this was new territory for Schaumburg and a lot of other communities to get into in terms of, did we want it? We had a lot of debates on the merits and the benefits of whether or not to allow gambling to take place or to allow cannabis dispensaries to open up. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor going forward.
Thank you.
Bobby.
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, you didn't mention coffee.
Coffee.
And that's very important, and you can talk directly with the police chief there.
Yes, so good point, Bobby. So Bobby brought up that I failed to mention coffee with the council, but she's correct. Coffee with the council is another opportunity for the public. Again, I do presentations like this, but I'm not the board, right? I don't make decisions. That is up to the board to do. So if there's questions, pertaining to our elected officials and why we're making certain decisions or why we're not making certain decisions, you can come to Coffee with the Council. It's the first Saturday of every month. We have one this Saturday, actually, and it's 9 o'clock over at our public safety building. You can talk with members of the board, and we also do have staff there. It's in our police station, so our police chief is typically there, or a representative of the police, public works, transportation, and a couple other staff members as well. So another good opportunity to not only hear from staff, but to also hear directly from our elected officials. So if you want to thank them in person for the rebate, that's a great opportunity to do that. I know they would love to hear that. So, and that goes on. Go ahead.
I would like to know what is happening with the Nitty property bike path right now.
So the question was, what is happening with the Nitty property bike path right now? So Nitty property is the one that's Summit Grove development that's occurring with the homes off of Summit. So the question, are you asking what the status of the bike path is, or? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that at this moment, but I can look that up and
Bring it up with Coffee with the Council.
bring it up with Coffee with the Council.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
It's really, it looks dangerous. I travel.
I haven't had.
I wouldn't ride a bike down that road.
I haven't had an update. Well, that's on Summit. I think she's talking about there's another bike path associated with the actual Summit Grove development.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's intended to go through the part that's being developed as part of, yes, exactly. Yeah. So I haven't had an update from Nitty on that recently, so I can write that down, and I know how to get a hold of you. So. Gotcha. And I should have also said from the beginning, I know most questions and answers, but I will be 100% honest. I know a little bit about everything, but I don't always know everything about everything. So if I can't answer your question, I'll be happy to take it down, and I can get your contact information, and I do try to follow up with everything. So we want to make this as useful to you as possible. So the woman in the back. Hello.
I have a question on Wise Road, the Old Omega restaurant. Looks like they're
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna take down
and
gas
they're
station
buying and everything. everything. It sounds, someone said that they did a oil change place next to Expressway or Express Food. I don't know if it's.
So the question was, is what development is going on Wise Road by, I'm trying to think where that's at. Irving and Wise? That one, I'm not sure on, Susan. I'd have to check on that and get back to you. Yeah.
Dispensary and a restaurant.
It might be. That sounds right, but I'd have to double check that.
And restaurant
The residential rebates that happened,
Yes.
which I ditto the comments, it's a good decision by the council. Was that in the last fiscal year that just closed April 30? Did that fall under that fiscal year or this new one as of May 1?
So it's coming out of, I believe, the last fiscal year, out of the surplus that came out of that.
So that 3 million came out of last year's?
Yes.
And so the surplus was just that amount, or it looked like there was like $1 million in extra surplus?
We had more surplus than that. That was what was dedicated to this residential
Was there more
rebate.
surplus, did that go towards like reserves, or what did that go towards?
So a lot of our surplus will end up, they're actually still closing the books on the last fiscal. It's a big, yes, we're still closing out invoices. So we're still working through all the numbers on that. But typically what happens is that the finance is going to take a look at that, and it either goes back into the general fund, or it may go into other reserves that, like I said, we've got other things that will be paid, down the road in terms of pensions and other projects. So it may start getting earmarked for other things that are coming up, capital improvement. There's a variety of things. So it depends on how finance, how the numbers kind of come through. But yes, that a lot of that surplus was out of last year's. We're finishing up last year at a higher rate than we thought we were going to. That's why the board wanted to give something back to the community.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything, I know there's a sign for hopscotch coming in the town
Yes,
square. Do you know any details about that?
Yeah. So the question was, so
That thing has kind of become
Yeah.
many things in that fall.
like Tony. So hopscotch, there's a sign. The question is, there's a sign for hopscotch right near here, actually right kitty corner here to the library. So hopscotch is a British pub style restaurant. I just got word this morning that they're looking to close on that property in the next couple weeks. So hopefully that permitting process is going to start in the next month or so. So we are fingers crossed that will continue to move forward. But yes, there has been a sign out there for quite some time. So hopefully we're going to look forward to seeing it go through the permitting process pretty soon. I don't have an opening date because I know it's taken them a while to get to this point. So hopefully, sooner rather than later. Because I think their, last concept that I saw was supposed to have they were going to have like open seating, rooftop deck, and looked really. No,
Wait for it to get here.
same with us, because I think again it offers with Tony's, and then you've got the town square concerts that take place, a lot of traffic that's going to be in the area. I think it'd just be a great amenity for the area, Oberweis, some of the other tea places that are opening around here. Trying to make it more walkable, and then you've got like the farmers market, so just generating that traffic. So stay tuned on that one. It's in the works. It's still in the works.
Yeah,
So
but it hasn't fallen.
no, we're all kind of like, what's going on with it?
I'll offer just 2 quick suggestions. You mentioned town square concerts. Love to see that in presentation and share that.
Sure.
Which is cool. And then the other is, I get the progress report, which I like getting, but I think Coffee with the Council and Chat with the Brass is only added on a date-by-date basis, as opposed to having it be permanent fixtures in the coming dates. I would just add it to the bottom and just say first Saturday of the month or third Thursday or whatever it is, so that people can kind of, I always think, oh yeah, I want to go, and then
something comes up and you planned your Saturday.
So if I saw it, I'd be like, oh yeah, if I can't go this next time, I can go. The next time, I put it in my phone.
No, I think that's a good idea. And I mean, they are a regular date, they're recurring, but yes.
It's just keeping it there always.
That might be a good idea as well.
People would have it on
Right, because we know they're always, but the public doesn't always know.
Sometimes they change.
They have to cancel because of the holiday.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes something comes up and it just gets canceled for some reason, but we do try to, remind folks of that when we can, especially because for questions like these, you want to go directly to those agencies. You're going to get better answers directly from the source, and that's why I encourage you. I'm glad that you're here to talk to me, but I also want you to get it right from them, because if you have something more specific that I can't answer, they'll be the ones to help you with that stuff. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Hi, Allison. Hey, first of all, thanks for the presentation. Very good, very informative. I appreciate everything Schaumburg does. I wanted to ask a question about public work, about the Schaumburg's capital improvement program.
Okay.
At one time, I'm a 3-year resident of Schaumburg. I work in Schaumburg, raised 2 kids here. My wife is in the corner over there, so really love living here. But I wanted to ask about Spring South Road between Wise and Irving Park and going into the Metro parking lot in there.
Okay.
Yeah, Spring South Road was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was just 1 lane in each direction, gravel shoulders. It was reconstructed as a joint project between Cook County and the Village of Schaumburg.
Okay.
On there, and so that was 2003. So it's been 20 years, and really nothing's been done with the roadway since then. And it's looking, it needs to be resurfaced.
Okay.
There's a couple other things, but besides the road condition, you also have the bike path along there going into Metro. On there, there's the bike path is uneven. There's roots growing up,
Okay.
making it a hazard on there. And then, I think that stretch of roadway is important to Schaumburg because it really, it's a gateway. It's one of the gateways into Schaumburg. And I think that's one of the pieces of roadways we want looking, beautiful.
Yes.
For the right impression, to give people coming into Schaumburg the right impression. And so I know when they reconstructed back in 2003, they planted a bunch of trees along the parkway, but there could be more on there. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to say about that stretch of road is really the speed control
Okay.
on it. Someone mentioned Schaumburg Road going 45 or 46. So I'm gonna stay off the road.
People are going faster.
She wasn't going 40, but they were going 45.
No, they were going 55. I'm going for 67.
But it's a low speed road.
Okay.
People, Schaumburg needs to look at doing some better measures of controlling speed. I know that's
I can pass that along too, because we do get a lot of people that do write in through our website. They call in, and if people are having speed concerns on certain segues of roads, or they're seeing trends in a certain area, we do pass those along to our police department, our traffic control division, so that they can either put some more patrol over there, or they can do whatever measures that they do for traffic calming over there. So that's something we take a look at.
So so I looked at the 5-year capital program, and I couldn't find you've done some work on your pavement management system
Yes.
lately, but I didn't see Spring South Road in there, and it is supposed to be village maintained. I'm just wondering if you.
I'll ask on that. There may be another plan for that area too, because I know we've got some development happening that's going to be happening over there with the Experior property as well. So I can ask on that specifically just to see, because typically they'll have a calendar of when each of the streets are going to be, whether it's up for resurfacing, it's up for reconstruction, or we might be waiting for a grant to come through. There's a lot of nuances.
I'm in the business, so I don't see anything planned for that. And you've done so. You're just resurfacing Spring and Scoot from Bodie to Schaumburg Road, and that stretch really needs to be added to the program.
Okay. I will take a look at that. All right. Thank you, Bobby. Go ahead.
I think that section of Spring South is unincorporated.
Yeah, and that's what I'm not sure about. So, because
I'm pretty sure I read law. I've been here 46 years. I think that those, 3 or 4 blocks, quarter mile, I believe it's unincorporated.
that's why I want to check.
Or it's going to another village.
I live on Spring South Road. I'm in the Village of Schaumburg.
You sure it's in Schaumburg?
Yes, I
Okay,
okay.
well, that was a long time ago. Again, I've been here a long time. They're unincorporated, that's why it has the name change.
Well, we do have a lot of jurisdictions that do maintain a lot of our roadways, so it's a fair question, but I'll check on that one. So, do we have any questions that are coming in? Okay, online we're good. I just want to make sure I wasn't neglecting anybody. So, we'll take about maybe 2 more questions just so we can kind of wrap it up for folks online and in person. So, how about the woman in the back, just to give her a chance?
Smaller scale question. I want to know if the village is or has plans to control the snapping turtle population in the municipal pond so that our cygnets don't disappear one of the days in summer.
Well, I do know that we do have traps that get set through our Public Works Department, and I think they work with the vendor that manages the swans once they do come. I know they set them out or they start checking them like around the time when the cygnets are about to be born, or hatched, I should say, which is around Memorial Day weekend. I think the swan is, Mama Swan's already doing her thing on the nest, so hopefully we're going to have a good good family this year. So.
We used to have, 10 or 12 of them every summer, and in recent years, they just keep getting fewer and fewer.
Last year we had a pretty good family last year, but yeah, a couple of years before that it's been a little bit, and some of it's just, it's just nature, unfortunately. So we watch for that too. We want to make sure that they move forward. So, but that's a good question. One last question. Go ahead.
Also with the municipal park area, the center grounds, it's just lovely there. It is so beautiful. And I live very close to there, so I like to walk there all the time. And there's a lot of people who like to walk there, and handicapped people as well.
Okay.
And the sidewalk does not go all the way around the lake. Between, they spent a lot of money this summer beautifying that patio area and redoing the staircase. It looks gorgeous, but there still is no way to walk from that patio back out to Summit. And nobody can actually walk continuously down. And oftentimes it's all muddy where the grass is there. It's all muddy and it's difficult. And to be honest, I did go and talk to them there at the municipal place, and they said, "Oh, it's too slanted. We can't do it." I walked it just yesterday, and when you're up by the building, not down by the water,
Sure.
it's flat enough to put a sidewalk in.
Yeah.
And so for handicapped and for the people to enjoy it completely, I ask, why can't we have a sidewalk there?
I will have to look at that, or at least pass it along. So, okay, very good. Well, I wanted to thank everyone in person and online who have joined me today. I hope that you've been able to get some really good information off of today's presentation. I appreciate all the questions that you guys have asked. If you asked me something and I said I'm going to get back to you, I will need to get your contact information. Otherwise, I will have no place to send this. So please come talk to me once we're done here. But thank you again. Please fill out the surveys that have been given to you. And for those of you online, I believe the plan is to send you a survey after the fact. So your feedback is very important. We do these frequently, so I want to make sure they're useful. If there's things that we can do to improve our presentation, that helps me quite a bit. So I really appreciate your feedback. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. Appreciate it.
Did we give them to you or did we give them to somebody else?